Resolved, the Student Senate for California Community Colleges take a vote of no confidence for California Community Colleges Chancellor Eloy Oakley. Are there any objections to adopting this resolution?
Objection.
Okay, author of the resolution.
Madam Chair, my name is Lawrence Sue. I come from Region 4, I'm the Legislative Affairs Director. But most importantly, I'm a student of Dienta. And it will be a disservice to my students and to my constituents if I do not speak upon their behalf. Yes, it is true that what the Chancellor has done gravely affects my college a lot. We're losing a ton of money and people are suffering. It is not just the teachers who are suffering, the students are also suffering because classes are being cut with this new funding formula. And then you have the whole entire deal with Guided Pathways, which has basically, from one of the responses when I heard in the Chancellor's office, they told us just take the plunge. It's like drinking Kool-Aid, just drink the Kool-Aid. And you know, frankly, we need more clarity. We need better communication. And that is why we have some dissatisfaction with the current Chancellor. We are not the only academic senate, we are not the only college that also disapproves of this Chancellor. We have some folks like San Diego, Miramar, Glendale, Allen Hancock, Los Rios, East Los Angeles. Some of these folks are also here today with us. And so I'm here to speak on behalf to pass this resolution in that we're trying to target of not what he has done, but also how he gets to those places. A very important part as Chancellor is that you must listen to your constituents, especially if you're going to be implementing plans that would affect 2.1 million students and the many thousands of faculty that serves the California community college system. And so, when you're jumping around, not listening to constituents, and even having this shroud of consultation, that's all a lie. And we need to have, this is unacceptable. With this resolution, it is not just a resolution, but it is a message to the Chancellor and to the Chancellor's office that what you're doing right now is not okay and it must be stopped. And that is why I brought this resolution here today, and you can see that we have a lot of different opinions. I'm going to see how it goes, but quite frankly, we're here to do our job. I'm here to do my job, and let's have a very collegial debate and have some consultation on both sides. Thank you.
Delegate from Sacramento City College. I move to suspend the rules that prohibit us from moving immediately to the Gender Equity Resource Centers on the basis of saving time for this resolution, since it seems like we're going to be spending more debate on this than on the other two.
Seconded.
So we can't suspend in the middle of a motion, so it would have to wait either way.
Point of information, I'd like to ask what were the reasons of budgetary restrictions that caused cancellation of Spring General Assembly last year? Oh, Maricosta College.
So last year, the financial burden of the SSCCC fell on the Chancellor's office. This year, we have access to the 2 SRF, so it's our budget. But last year, it was not. It was the Chancellor's budget, and GA was consuming a lot of money, and it wasn't putting back. So like, we would host these things, and then at the end of it would be like 30 grand in debt. So we would be paying out 30, and it wasn't like bouncing out. And so that wasn't just for that GA, it was like multiple GAs in a row. So that was one of the reasons why they decided that it wasn't worth it to be 30 more grand in debt, financial reasons. Harley?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a point of information. Is the Board of Directors able to actively seek the suspension or firing of the Chancellor?
No.
Thank you.
Con?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Alex Walker Griffin from Contra Costa College. As a member of the California Community Colleges Board of Governors, I hear the concerns of my constituents, but I'm here today to address this resolution and say there are many parts of this resolution that I disagree with. In the very first whereas, it says, by excluding students and faculty leadership groups from meetings. To be quite frank with you, that is untrue, and it is not a fact at all. Students are a part of these consultation meetings, especially faculty, and it is not the chancellor that decides who sits on these committees, it's the consultation council. Feel free to stop by Sacramento or give us a call and we'll be able to assist you. In addition to that, the Consultation Council is the official shared governance body of the Chancellor's Office. And in addition to that, well actually furthermore I should say, the Chancellor's Office made the recommendation that Spring GA should be canceled, but it was up to President Courtney Cooper to make that final decision, and she did so rightfully and with her own respect. And lastly, I will say this. If SSCCC said they didn't have the money for it, why are you putting this on the Chancellor's Office? It is not up to Chancellor Oakley to make the decisions that directly impact SSCCC, but I will say this. Chancellor Oakley has been listening. He's having listening tours up and down the state of California right now. He has been to San Joaquin College, he has been to Los Angeles, he has been up and down the state. So feel free to reach out to him, or even myself. I represent you, but this vote of no confidence should not be put on Chancellor Oakley. I think right now SSCCC needs to step up its leadership and participate with the Chancellor's Office to make sure that you are adequately represented. He is in charge of the largest higher education in the United States of America. So to put all the weight on him to deciding who sits on these committees is quite frankly unfair and not right. Thank you.
Pearl?
All right, so I think it's important for us to take a look at the behavior this weekend from the Chancellor's Office specifically. So this weekend alone, they've packed this conference with members from the Chancellor's Office fighting in favor of Oakley to protect this vote. They know this vote was coming, so they packed the conference with these speakers. They had Vice Chancellor Tracy Thomas. They had Deputy Chancellor Dr. Gonzalez here protecting Eloy Oakley from this vote, while Eloy Oakley, I don't see him. Where is he? If you're here to defend yourself, defend yourself. Don't pack a conference with speakers that are here to protect you. We're voting in no confidence in you. You should be here to protect yourself, not members from your office. Not only that, but they packed these meetings outside, what are they called?
Breakouts.
The breakout sessions are also packed with members from the Chancellor's Office, which, I mean, it's obvious what they're trying to do here. We have to take a look at what exactly a no confidence vote means. Like the question at the part of the Crow mic, when they asked, what does it mean? Can we actually force them to resign, or can we pressure them to resign? No, this vote of no confidence is a symbolic vote, right? It's our attitude towards Chancellor Oakley. This is just us saying that we are not okay with the lack of transparency that has been put on us. And the speaker over there mentioned come to Sacramento to visit Chancellor Oakley. How are we going to do that? We don't have the resources to go and visit Chancellor Oakley in Sacramento. Are you kidding me? We barely have the resources to make this conference happen. Also, just one last point. If you take a look at the questions that Dr. Gonzalez received when she was speaking, there was a question asked about the online college and the lack of transparency that Chancellor Oakley was putting on the students, and the question was dodged. Dr. Gonzalez just started speaking about what aspects of the online colleges were, but she didn't actually directly answer the question, why is there a lack of transparency? So just pay attention to what's happening these last few days. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. I'm Alexis Zaragoza from the California Community Colleges Board of Governors, and before I start what I was going to say, I would like to mention that all of us from the Chancellor's Office, me and Alex were going to come anyway, but everyone else that was invited from the Chancellor's Office was invited by Cameron from the SSCCC. SSCCC were the people who invited us here, so it was nothing like that. So moving on from that, I've only been on the board for about 3 months now, so I cannot speak on behalf of most of the decisions made before I arrived. However, I can speak on my view of the Chancellor based on what I've seen as a board member. Often in today's world, when we see a broken bridge, we would rather burn it down than work together to fix it. But I assure you, if everybody in our system is putting in the effort equally to ensure our students' success, that is what the system will reflect. but that means everyone doing their part. Alex and I are very transparent, our emails are open, all of our information is online to be able to contact. And also the Chancellor's office. I've never seen anyone in the Chancellor's office push away a student from speaking to them and turn them away. If you're finding problems with anything that we're doing, all it takes is a conversation with us to ensure you're being represented, especially because we have a direct line to the Chancellor. So yes, we do have these student representation during these changes. I was not personally a part of them, but we have always had students present. It's what the board of members are for, and it's what the consultation council is for. I understand communication has not been at its best, and it must do better to ensure this, but the Chancellor has been working hard to fix that. He knows that the next definitive step to our process is thorough communication with students. I personally signed on to do a tour across the state to present on students' rights with AB 705 with the Chancellor's office, and the Chancellor is right now doing listening tours all across the state to ensure that he can listen to colleges and their problems and students and their issues and clarifies miscommunication. These events have been heavily communicated to the schools hosting the events. I went to one of his last ones, and you know how many students were there? 1. If we want to do the changes that will make our system collaborate well and work together, that work needs to be done by everyone. We cannot coexist as separate entities, we have to have each other's back. So I say we put away the matches and start building again. Thank you.
Harlan?
Trustee Manuel from Cypress College. Point of information. In the resolution, it says direct violation. Can I understand what the allegations are against him to kind of better understand what we're fighting for?
Author of the resolution?
So in the bylaws of SSCCC, rules of the Constitution, one of them, it does say that we are obligated to meet biannually, 2 times a year. And so Spring General Assembly was canceled because of that. I cannot say as to the real reason as to why the General Assembly, or Spring General Assembly, was canceled. However, budgetary concerns should not be the main reason why over 100, well, we can't have 114 colleges, but we're this one of the few opportunities that community colleges across the state can meet together and talk and pass these resolutions. So that is just not an excuse, a good enough excuse for budgetary concerns, especially if it violates our bylaws and our right to meet together and speak on behalf of our constituents.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say that even if it was the SSCCC who made the final decision to cancel our spring GA, the Chancellor's office still should have known that our bylaws said 2 meetings per year. It's that simple. They should have known, they shouldn't have recommended that we cancel it. In addition to that, him not being here and him sending his people from the Chancellor's office to speak to us, it's insulting that he's not here and the things that they're saying aren't entirely true. They're avoiding our questions. I mean, the whole thing with the AB 705, what's being said by the Chancellor's office just isn't entirely accurate. It doesn't add up, basically. That's it. And also, sorry. I just want to add, I lost it, sorry.
Harlan?
Privilege of the assembly, those delegates who are sitting on their Instagrams, Facebooks, texting, can you please not? Please pay attention. Thank you.
Hi. So I'm the current BPSN. I've changed my voice a little bit, so forgive me. But I have a few things I want to say in regards to shared governance and our inability to afford to have a spring General Assembly. When it comes to shared governance, President Youngblood and I sit on the Consultation Council. Our emails are public, they're on the website. You are more than welcome to reach out to me about shared governance issues. I want to say one thing, not a single student has.
Please address the chair.
Chair, not a single student has. More to the point, we have issues filling shared governance committees anyway on every college campus. This is not a new issue. to say that students aren't being represented in shared governance, it's a student issue. It's not a chancellor's office issue. We need to step up. Also, in regards to our financial situation, it is not the chancellor's office's job to make sure that we are able to hold a GA. It is our job. And that comes to things like the $2 SRF, that comes to things like, sponsorships, and that's the SSCCC. Our former board, they did not do their fiduciary responsibility. But to hold the chancellor responsible for that, it just seems unfair. And I also want to say that this resolution was written primarily with faculty in mind, and it is not our job as students to give faculty another vote at the table. It is our job to represent students' interests. When students have problems like not graduating, when students have problems like being stuck in remedial courses, it is the chancellor's office's job to fix those issues, and that is what they are doing. Maybe it's not perfect, and maybe it needs refinement, but to say that Chancellor Oakley has done more harm than good, I think that should be the framing of this debate, and I think to claim that he has done more harm than good simply isn't true. He is standing up for students' rights, and I understand why Academic Senate is upset. I really do. It's hard when things have to change, but change is absolutely necessary. Students are failing across the state, and for us to take a position of no confidence implies that we don't agree with the idea that more students should be graduating. It implies that we don't agree with diversity of qualifications. It implies that we don't support vision for success, and I think most students do. Thank you.
John Michelson, Daphne Valley College. So, the fact that this was brought up at all, I'm surprised because in general, within SSCCC, especially the board of directors, there's somewhat of a culture of fear around dealing with the chancellor's office. And I can say that because I was on the board of directors for the last 3 years. There were times where we had people at the table from the chancellor's office threatening us as a result of things we've done or as a result of things we were doing. That was actually my first term. And I recall that specifically because the Vice President of Governance and Policy at the time said, "Thank you for your threat, Vice Chancellor," after that happened. So it is telling that the student speakers on the con side are 2 Board of Governors members and 1 SSCCC executive. I haven't seen anyone else, there hasn't been anyone else at the front. I see another SSCCC executive. I'm talking about who's spoken. And I am speaking to the chair. But, so, like I said, that's who's talked so far. That's who's most passionate about this. There are people who are within it. And when you're inside of it, it's hard to see the forest for the trees, I'm going to be honest. But from what I've seen in the time period I've been around, I don't think that the direction and the way the chancellor wants to change things at any cost as fast as possible is really what's best for the students. And I think that if it's bad for faculty, it's bad for students. I think that an injury to one is an injury to all. And I think that we have to consider what's best for the system as a whole, not just students, because if the system fails, we all fail. Thank you.
Cotton Mountain College, request for information. I would like to know if the Chancellor's Office directly approves the SSCCC bylaws and constitution.
No.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to amend the resolution. Santa Rosa Junior College. I move to amend the resolution by inserting a resolve that states, urge that the SSCCC urge Chancellor Oakley to visit 1 meeting of every region.
No second, motion dies. Objection? All right, any debate on this amendment?
Area Community College Center. My name is Christian Munoz. Am I correct, this is going to be adding a resolve?
Yes.
Then is it still vote of confidence? Is it no vote of confidence? Then what is this going to do? We're still voting no confidence. It's a resolve, it has nothing to do with it. It's still a no vote of confidence. You're amending this to go to one meeting. By the way, we still don't want you to be the chancellor. And it doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. It's got a waste of an amendment.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Madam Chair.
Harley.
Hi, Armando Avila from Cerritos College. Yeah, point of information, request evidence and examples of Chancellor Oakley's actions that show harm to the colleges, please.
Okay, we're on the amendment, but as soon as the amendment's done, we'll honor that, okay?
Chair, I would just like to say that no confidence does not necessarily mean that you want someone to be fired. If you want someone to be fired, if you don't want someone there, you should add that as an amendment. And votes of no confidence are generally votes of no consequence. We need to add something. There needs to be some teeth. And I believe that's probably why the question was asked, if SSCCC board could actively ask the Board of Governors to suspend or to put in probation of Chancellor Oakley, since that is not an available option. This is one of those options for Chancellor Oakley to actually listen to the representatives of the 2.1 million students. Since he was not here to do that now, this is a way for him to do that. And over a year, I think no matter how busy you are, you can visit 10 meetings in a year. I think that's very possible and very feasible. Not being able to not being able to come to GA, that's one thing. I respect that. You know, there's 3 days. He's a busy guy. I respect that. But 10 meetings in a year? Come on, anyone can do that. This is a way for him to listen to the representatives, 2.1 million students, and know what's going on, and to hear what we don't like with what he's doing and why there is no confidence in what he's doing, and hear directly and how to change that. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Con.
Valerie Johnson, Crafton Hills College. I just wanted to note that the regions are often struggling to even host meetings. So I would suggest that before we require that the chancellor be at our meetings, that we make sure each region is meeting for and at their meetings. And I don't think that we should require that the chancellor come to our meetings if we're not consistently hosting effective and productive meetings.
Harley.
Bakersfield College, I call the question on the amendment.
Thank you. Any objection? No? Okay. Ready for vote? All right, the vote is open. You're voting on to add the amendment that the chancellor will go to each of the regions. Add the resolve that the chancellor will go to each of the regions.